is Marella. Welcome to Quick Yoga. I invite you to take a good sitting position. By good sitting position, I mean sit tall. Move your ears back. Bring your hands together as if in prayer. Close your eyes, or if you like, you can keep them open with a soft gaze, some feet in front of you. Bring your attention to your breath. To open our practice today, we start with 3 Ms. Exhale, inhale, Om. Inhale, Om. Inhale, Om. Open your eyes, release your hands. Word of the day today is incremental. Often we don't really realise the impact of yoga on our body and in our lives. And people often say to me that they notice the impact of yoga when they're not doing it, when they've maybe gotten away from their practice for a couple of weeks or a month or so, and then they notice it in their bodies. So yoga makes an incremental difference. If you compare your practice today with your practice of yesterday, last week, 2 weeks ago, you won't see much difference. But if you compare your practice, if you have been practicing between today and maybe 6 months ago, or 6 months ago and 2 years ago, and you can for sure see a difference in your body and perhaps even in your life and in your relationships. So working with patience, incrementally, small changes come into our lives through the practice of yoga. So let's begin. Make your way onto your hands and knees. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Exhale, round your back up. Inhale, lift your head, look up, sit down between your shoulder blades. Keep that going. Exhaling, rounding up. Inhaling, sinking down. Body following breath. Exhaling, rounding up. Inhale, sink down. Bring full attention to the movement of your spine. Feel how good that feels. Coming into tiger, lift your right arm up off the floor, lift your left leg out behind you, flex and point your back foot, stretch your fingertips away from you, gaze out beyond your fingertips. And be careful not to sit back, keep your shoulders floated over your wrist, level across the plane of your buttocks, pointing your back knee towards the floor. And switch to the other side. Left arm out in front, right leg out behind, flex and point. And release. And coming into tremulosis, sit back in your heels. Cross your right ankle over your left ankle, and this is a pose that I like to use blocks on. So place the blocks, if you have them, just to the side of halfway between your knees and your hips. And I put them on the high setting. Now super glue your heels to your hips. Press down with your hands into the blocks or onto the floor. Inhale and see if you can lift your knees and your feet off the floor. And release. And switch to the other side. Come onto your hands and knees. Cross your ankles in the other direction. Sit back in your heels. Super glue your heels to your hips. Press down with your hands into the blocks and elevate as high as you can off the floor. Even if you only end up with one toe on the floor, that's fine. And release. That's a good warmer upper right at the start for practice. And come into leg lifts. Come and lie on your back. Clasp your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers, elbows into the side of your face, head and shoulders off the floor. Inhale, bring your knees into your chest, stretch them up. Exhale, inhale, lower your legs to the floor. Exhale, bring them back up. See if you can do 2 sets of 5. Endeavouring to keep your legs straight, bring your knees to your elbows. Squeeze inner heels, inner shins, inner thighs towards each other. If you have a low back thing going on, do it one leg at a time or with knees bent. And make your way to standing, moving into crescent. Lift your right arm up by your ear. Clasp your right biceps with your left hand. Move your hips to the right, your torso to the left. Be as sideways as possible. Root down equally with both feet into the floor. Squeeze your shins in. Squeeze your inner thighs together, engage your core. And stretch both sides of your body, particularly the side that you're leaning into. Move your ears back. Inhale, come back to center and switch to the other side. Be as sideways as possible. Inhale, come back to center. Release your arms, clasp your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers. Moving into power pose, hands bound. Either feet together, more difficult, more doable, feet inner hip width apart. Bend your knees, lower your hips. Place your hands on the small of your back by bending your elbows. Round your back, bring your forehead to your knees. Lift your arms off your back, stretch your knuckles up towards the ceiling. Bring your arms to vertical or beyond. Sit back in your throne. Inhale, press down, stand up. Coming into power pose, lift your arms overhead, hands shoulder width apart. Bend your knees, lower your hips, gaze straight ahead. Push into your ankles. Inhale, press down, stand up. Moving into eagle, no, I beg your pardon, into tree pose. Shift your weight onto your left foot, lift your right leg and place it against either your ankle, your shin, or your upper inner thigh. I'm choosing my inner thigh this morning. Inhale your arms up, bring your palms together and stretch them up. Press your hands into one another. Stretch your fingers wide, root down with the standing leg into the floor. Lift your gaze. Inhale, exhale, release, and switch to the other side. Shift your weight onto your right foot and lift your left foot and place it against your upper inner thigh. Inhale, exhale, and release. And moving into warrior two, step your feet wide apart. Turn your right foot out. Line up your front heel so it bisects the arch of the back foot. Inhale your arms up, check your hands are in line with your shoulders, bend your right knee, sink down, move your front knee out in line with your second toe. Be careful not to lean out over your front leg. Press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor, engage your quad, draw your right buttock in underneath, lift your chin. Inhale, press down, stand up and switch to the other side. Right foot in, left foot out. Bend your knees, sink down, hands in line with shoulders. Press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor, engage your quad. Line up your front knee with the root of your second toe. Press down and stand up and move to the back of the mat and move into high lunge. Inhale your arms up, hands shoulder width apart, point palms in. Take a big step forward with your right foot. Lift your back heel off the floor, lift the back of your back knee up. Look up. Stretch your front heel away from your back knee. Press down, stand up and switch to the other end of the mat. Turn your right foot in, turn your left foot out. Lift your back heel to vertical. Front knee over front ankle. Sink down, stretch up. Lower your hands and step your feet together. Moving into eagle. Shift your weight onto your left foot. Lift your right leg and wrap it around the front of the left. Lift the left arm and wrap the right underneath. Hug the midline. Back straight. Bend the standing legs. Sink down. Squeeze elbows into chest, chest into spine. Inhale, press down and stand up and switch to the other side. Shift your weight onto your right foot. Lift your left leg and wrap it around the right. Lift the right arm and wrap the left arm underneath. Bend the standing leg, sink down. Press down and stand up. Moving into eight angle pose. Come onto your hands and knees. Walk your hands forward and lower your chest to the floor, chin to the floor. Walk your hands back Forearms vertical, squeeze your elbows in, turn your toes under, lift your hips up, press your chest into the floor, press your hands, your feet into the floor, your knees into the floor and your chin into the floor. Stretch your legs out. Moving into endless pose. Place your elbow in the middle of your mat, place your hand under the side of your face, roll onto your right hip, line up your elbow with your shoulder, with your hip, with your heel, and then bend your left knee, clasp your left foot, the big toe of your left foot with the first two fingers of your left hand, and stretch your leg up towards you. Press the back of your thigh away from you, engage your quad, push through the heel that's on the floor. You can also hold the side of your foot. And switch to the other side. I'm going to the end of the mat so that you can see what I'm doing. And release, and coming into twisted monkey. Moving into camel pose. Knees hip width apart, tops of your feet on the floor, flare your toes. Inhale, squeeze your inner shins together, your inner thighs. Lift your arms up and windmill them back behind you and place them on your heels. Or more doable, place your hands on your hips. And then push your hips forward, squeeze your heels together, tighten your glutes, lift, keep pushing your hips forward, look up. Inhale, place your hands on your hips and come all the way up. Moving into fallen sage, come onto your hands and knees, momentarily into down dog, pivot your ankles to the right and then walk your right foot forward, your left foot back, and then your outer edge, you're on the outer edge of your right foot, you're on the inner edge of your left foot, you're floating your shoulders over your wrists and you're gazing out in front. Really what you're in is plank with your legs crossed. Lower your hips to the floor, walk your hands back, separate your feet even wider, twist to the front of the mat, lift your head, look up, be as upright as possible. And then lowering all the way down. And turn your head so that you're looking away from your knees. Forearms vertical. Squeeze your elbows in. Legs wide apart. Inhale back up to center. And moving into K-Sage 1. So my way of getting into it is like this. But we've done all the work beforehand. So you're coming into squat pose. You're turning to the right Your knees are pointing forward, you're turning towards the right, your upper body, and place your hands. This may be as far as you go today, you're practicing that. Or lean forward, bring your hip to your elbow, your knee to your other elbow, bend your elbows and lift your feet off the floor. That's the next stage. So it's like that, or stay here, or stretch your right leg out in front, your left leg up behind. So again, you're just, what you've done on the mat, here you are, you're doing lifted off the floor. And release. And switch to the other side. Let's come into plank with our legs crossed. Fallen sage as it's known. So down dog, pivot to the left, lift your left foot forward, float your shoulders over your wrists, you're in plank with your legs crossed. Lift your head, look up. Lower all the way to the floor, torso upright, hands back, legs away from each other. You're on the inside edge of your right foot, the outside edge of your left foot. Lower to the floor and look back behind you. Walk your elbows back so your forearms are vertical, squeeze your elbows in. And either stay there or move into the last bit of the pose. Come into squat pose or onto your hunkers, and turn and place your hands at the side of your body, hands shoulder width apart. Separate your fingers, bend your elbows, and lean towards your elbows. Place your outside edge of your knee on one elbow and your ankle on the other elbow. And this may be as far as you go, or if you can lift off, and then stretch your left leg forward, your right leg back, and just hang out here. And release, and make your way into bridge pose, lying your back. Bend your knees, place your heels in front of your hips, press down with your feet into the floor, lift your hips up, walk your arms in underneath, shrug your shoulders together, walk your heels back, press your heels into the floor and float your hips even higher, tighten your glutes. And release your arms and gently roll your spine down vertebrae by vertebrae. And make your way to thread the needle, lift your right foot, bring the outside edge of your right foot on top of your left knee. And then lift your left foot off the floor, slide your hands between your legs, make both feet active, push your heels away, draw your toes back. Press your lower back into the floor, press your head into the floor. And gently release and switch to the other side. Lift your left foot, place it on top of your right knee. Lift your right knee, bring your right knee into your chest, make both feet active. And release, and then bring both knees into your chest and clasp the outside edges of your feet and move into happy baby. Draw down on the soles of your feet, press your lower back into the floor, press your head into the floor, Push up with your feet into your hands, engage your core. And release your knees to your chest and hug them in and give yourself the most kindly, loving, delicious hug today. And from here, make your way into relaxation. So you might like to get a blanket or an eye bag, stretch your arms out, stretch your legs out, turn your palms up, sink down into the floor. Nothing to do, nowhere to be. Begin to deepen your breathing. Bring your attention back into your body and onto the mat. Start to awaken your body by moving your hands, your feet. Give yourself a stretch. Then bend your knees, roll to one side, place your hands on the floor and make your way to sitting. I invite you to bring your hands to your heart, close your eyes, turn in one last time, to on ourselves, each other, practice, and incremental changes in our lives. We close with one Om. Exhale, inhale. Thanks for practicing, thanks for coming to practice. See you on the mat.